Welcome to today's explainer. All right, let's just jump right in because today we are tackling something that literally impacts every single one of us every single day. I'm talking about making decisions. From the absolute second we wake up to the moment our head hits the pillow, we are just constantly faced with choices. Some are tiny, sure, but others are completely life-altering and they all shape our path. Today, we're going to dive into a super practical, step-by-step approach for navigating all these daily choices by seeking divine wisdom. This isn't just some abstract theory either. It's a structured, concrete method drawn straight from our source material that you can actually start using today. So let's get into it.
Okay, the absolute foundation for this entire approach comes straight from James chapter 1, verse 5. It says, "If any one of you is lacking in wisdom, let him keep asking God." There is just such a beautiful, reassuring promise embedded right there in that verse. Jehovah promises to give us the wisdom to figure out if a certain path is going to please him. And you got to notice how he gives it. The verse points out that he gives this wisdom generously to all and without reproaching. That is an absolutely crucial point. It means when we're facing a tough call and feeling completely unsure of what to do, we literally don't have to hesitate to ask. The invitation is wide open and the wisdom, it's handed out generously. But as we're going to see, asking is really just a beginning of the process.
Think about it like this for a second. Imagine you're on a road trip and you get completely, hopelessly lost. You spot a local resident, you roll down your window, and you ask them for directions. But imagine doing that and then immediately driving off before they even had a chance to open their mouth. It sounds totally absurd, right? No way would you do that. You would naturally hit the brakes, pause, and actually listen carefully to what they have to say. This little analogy brings up a really important realization about how we handle divine guidance. I mean, why would we ask for help and then just completely ignore the response?
So, really, seeking wisdom is a crucial two-part process. Step 1, pray for Jehovah's direction. That's the asking part we just talked about in James 1:5. But step 2 is where you actually get the guidance. You absolutely must pay careful attention to his answer. If we just pray and then immediately rush forward, relying on our own understanding, we're exactly like that traveler driving away from the local. We have to actively listen. Asking for wisdom, that's just half the equation. Listening is the vital second half that actually gets us where we need to go safely. So how exactly do you listen to that answer? Well, God's answer isn't going to be some audible voice booming from the clouds, right? His directions are already laid out for us right inside the Bible. After you ask Jehovah for wisdom, you listen by actively figuring out which Bible laws and principles apply to your specific situation. This brings our whole road trip analogy right back to reality. Listening actually means doing the research. It means digging into the scriptures to find the specific laws and those deep underlying principles that speak directly to the choice you are dealing with right now. Let's look at a really concrete, everyday example to see exactly how this plays out in real life. Let's say you're trying to decide whether or not to go to a specific social gathering. You've prayed about it. Boom, step 1 is done. Now for step 2, you start looking for those applicable principles to build kind of a practical checklist. First up, you might look at Romans 13:13 to see what the Bible actually says about wild parties. You ask yourself, is this get-together going to cross that line? Next, you evaluate the environment based on 1 Corinthians 15:33. Are there bad associations there that could negatively impact you? And finally, you weigh the whole thing against Matthew 6:33. You have to ask, by going to this, am I really putting kingdom interests ahead of my own personal preferences? Or is this social event clashing with my spiritual priorities? By taking the time to actually review these specific scriptures, you are actively listening to the directions. You're basically letting divine wisdom map out the absolute safest, most pleasing route for your decision. And that brings us to a highly personal reflection. This biblical process, it really just takes all the guesswork out of life's complex situations. You ask generously, you listen carefully, and then you apply specific principles to your unique circumstances. It is just a fantastic, empowering cycle of guidance. So as you look at your own schedule, your challenges, or maybe the opportunities sitting in front of you right now, I want to leave you with this one provocative thought. What decision will you seek divine wisdom for today? Because whether it's as routine as planning your weekend social gathering or something massively life-changing, the mechanism for finding the right path is exactly the same, and it is entirely available to you. I really hope this structured approach helps you navigate your daily choices with a whole lot more confidence and clarity. For more information, please visit jw.org. Like, share, subscribe, and press the bell icon.